Hello and welcome back to Grifted Gaming. I haven't uploaded in a few weeks. We've got a good reason why this happened. Um, I'm playing online as well, and I actually found out that there's still a lot of people that doesn't know some of the mechanics that is implemented in Arc. So like you can see, we are not in the game as usual. We are now in a presentation that I created and getting everything ready, getting everything right, and finding out where to start so that it's not a bit uh, aggressive is just, it was an issue. So I found out how I'm gonna do this, and I made a introduction, well, index. So if we look at the index, we can see we're going to go over some basic things like the naming and the words that is used in Arc by Arc players. After which we are then going to go over the spawning and the spawn pools of the different dinos. After we done that, we are going to look at the level distribution. Then we're going to look at taming and breeding, and then we're going to take a deeper look into taming, different types of taming and stuff, and then after that we're going to delve deeper into the breeding part of the game. Now this index will probably grow as the video goes by, and I will also have timestamps in the description of where you can skip to if you don't want to see some of the stuff. So go to the description, do a skippy, and check out the parts that you are interested in. So let's start off with the name abbreviations, which most veteran Arc players will, of course, know, but the newer players will probably still struggle because you're never going to get the dino that we are actually talking about if we use the abbreviation, and you are actually looking at the dino saying this is not what you're saying. So let's start this. So the first one is Pegomastix. It's shortened to Pego. This is usually the rule of thumb if you do abbreviations for dino names. It's going to be the first few letters with a few exceptions. Now, the next one, we can just check. That would be the Thylacoleo, which is then a Thylo or a Thyla. There's two different types names. Some use Thylo, some use Thyla. It's like tomato. Um, but most people will know what you're talking about if you use either the abbreviations. Um, the next one is the Tranq or the Triceratops. This is one that is actually different to the name because actually this abbreviation doesn't come from Arc players. Trike is something that has been around for years. I remember I had dinosaur books when I was a little kid, and they were also talking about trike as a abbreviation for the longer name, which is the Triceratops. So this is some of the name abbreviations. The next thing we're going to look at is the slang words or the difficult words to understand what it is. And the first one is spawning or spawn. Now, in this short clip, you will see the character dies and then he is presented with a screen so that he can respawn. So you can either choose a bed or you can basically spawn at a random location. So there at the bottom you will see respawn at certain location. So this just means that once something needs to travel to a certain point in the map, that would be spawning or respawning. Um, it's different than fast travel. You don't have fast travel in this game, but in some others you do. Uh, Spawning also doesn't just affect the player, it also affects dinosaurs and actually all creatures in Ark. So if you kill all the dinos on the map, the new ones will be spawning in their places. So they won't be respawning, but they will be spawning. So the next one we are going to look at is to tank, which means you've got a dino with a lot of health, and you can take damage. Like you can see, this trike is taking damage from the saber, and the health at the top isn't even moving. So this is tanking something, and this gives other players the opportunity to either go around or try and get a maneuver or do something clever to take out the target. That's usually um, not just the straightforward cat in this case, but just for purposes of showing you what is tanking, I use the saber-tooth. So that's how to tank. You get different types of tanks. This is one of the beginning tanks. If you use this one against the uh, Rex, you wouldn't last long. So you're gonna need other tanks to tank different types of dinos. Now, something that sounds similar, but is actually way different, would be to tranq something. To tranq something is to basically knock it out. Um, so you can use different weapons in Ark to do this. You start at the slingshot, which is least effective, and we move down to the most effective, which is shocking tranks. Now, the electric prod does do more torpor damage than the shocking trank, but it's ranked lower in my case or my opinion because it's a one-shot thing that is very heavy. So you can't really like carry a lot of them because it's very, very, very heavy, and if you use it once, it's gone. So, moving on from this, we are going to look some more at other slang words, particularly to dinos. The first one is aggroing. Now, to aggro something, you get very close and it starts attacking you. So that would be aggroing it, and basically that's like saying it's getting aggressive. After you aggro something, and that would be kiting. So here you can see we are aggroing it and then we are running away. For all intents and purposes, I'm just going to kill the compy so that it doesn't get in the way, and after I've done that, you will see we are running this Dillo away from where it actually used to stand to another position. Now we can use this in a array of ways. We can run it to somebody's base, we can run it to another dino that we can kill ourselves, or anything like that. Now you can lose aggro by running far enough away so that it loses interest, which you would do when you are done kiting it as well. So you'll see it's going to turn away now because, yeah, there we go. It's turning away and it's moving back to its spawn point. So this is aggroing and kiting something. So yeah, the next thing we are going to look at is the spawn points and spawn locations. So if we take a look at the Hesperornis, the yellow and greenish marks on the map is where this type of dinosaur actually spawn or naturally occurs, if you can say that. Um, so it's usually a percentage of the dinos that actually resides there, and I'll explain that a bit more later. Just remember that this yellow pieces on the map would be the spawn points uh, on the map for this particular dino. So the next one we are going to look at would be the otter, and you can see it almost has the same type of spawn location or spawn points than the Hesperornis. This is actually one of the reasons why I chose these two dinos, is because they have very similar spawn points. So if we put them next to each other, the spawn points, and take a look where we actually can see they look a lot similar to each other. There is a difference in color, and the color is actually the percentage of that specific dino that can spawn there. So the Hesperornis will have something like a 54% spawn rate at most of the locations, where the otter will only have something like a 2% or something like that. So you're not going to get as much otters in the same locations as the Hesperornis. And if you have a lot more Hesperornis, there won't be enough spaces left for the otter to spawn. So now this occurs with a lot of dinos, actually all dinos, but not all of them spawn at the same exact location. But as we can see, this little piece in the mountains is actually exactly the same spot for the Hesperornis and the otter. So using that one spot, we can see that the Hesperornis is going to be like 20% more than the otter spawn. So where you get one otter, you will have 20 Hesperornises. So bear that in mind if you change your dino count on a single player, or the server settings have dino counts that are lower. You're not going to have any auto spawns, because the Hesperornis and the other dinos that have a higher percentage spawn rate will take up all the population in that spot, and the otters and the other dinos that doesn't have that high of a percentage will lack because of that, and they won't be able to spawn. So that is everything that actually resides within the realm of dino spawning. If you want me to do a bit of a in-depth tutorial of, let's say, all the dinos that spawn in a certain location and the percentages of how many dinos are spawning there, those type of things, I would be interested. Just let me know in the comments, and we can maybe check to get that video done as well. Right, so that was a quick look at some of the things that newbie players will not be interested, well, would not know within the game, some of the mechanics. Please like the video if you do like it, and subscribe to my channel. I am going to put up more videos that is going to cover some of the basic mechanics of Ark. If you want an in-depth tutorial on some of the mechanics, we can do that definitely. I use a lot of the mechanics daily, especially when we play online on the servers that we have. So with that, please like and subscribe, and cheers.